Is San Jose State the most underrated group of five school in all of conference realignment? Why are they so forgotten about? Is some of that bad reputation kind of earned? What's their potential? What's their future look like? They seem to be taking football seriously. I'm going to break it all down for you, folks. This is the Let's Run podcast. Folks, welcome to the show today. Grateful to have you. It's been an absolute blast this week covering college sports, covering UNLV, talking about that game against Idaho State was fun, even if it was a little frustrating sometimes. Happy to continue the conference realignment series. During the season, the plan is to talk about one school per week. Obviously, there are some things each episode that are going to change. Like, for example, these preseason episodes, I have been giving full schedule predictions for all of these schools. And as results start coming in, I guess I will predict what the schools will do based on their current record for the rest of the season. But this series is a blast. I'm going to keep doing it during the season because I just love it. I love talking. I get really cool experiences and discussions with fans from these schools. A lot of times I'm getting educated, things that I don't know. These take a lot of effort to put together, and it's fun to do the research. And I find this conference realignment topic fascinating. So if you find it fascinating too, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. We are barreling towards 500 subscribers. So if you could click that subscribe button, like this video, the channel is going to keep growing. And I'm really grateful for all the support that we've gotten. Let's talk about San Jose State. So San Jose State, they're located in San Jose, California, right kind of in the middle. I don't know if the middle, but because I haven't been to San Francisco in that area of the world in a long time, but kind of by Silicon Valley. San Jose State is, there's a bunch of schools up there, even schools like academically UC Davis, Cal, Stanford kind of dwarf San Jose, and UC Davis is a little further away, obviously, but sometimes they draw from that same metropolitan area in terms of their enrollment. San Jose State is kind of seen as the it's kind of like the big public school, not the private school like Stanford, not the academic powerhouse like Cal and Stanford too, not the specialized school that's also great academically like UC Davis, and there's several schools up in that area. But San Jose State's kind of the workhorse school, the school where people go. It's oftentimes a little bit of a commuter school. But their student body is growing. I saw a tweet that they hit 40,000 in enrollment, which is a huge number. And a really good sign for the future of that school. They've shown some really fun potential. It's a school that struggled a lot in terms of college football and college basketball. There just hasn't been a ton of investment into the resources needed to power the football and basketball program forward. However, recently, specifically with football, you have seen really good signs of investment and really caring about that sport and that program. But let's talk about them. So let's pull up the slideshow here. One moment, please. Just pulling up old slideshow. You know me, I love my slideshows, guys. And let's dump over here. Let's go up to the top. And the question that I want to talk about today is, oh shoot, what am I doing here? Is San Jose State the most underrated school in all of the G5? Now, does that mean that I think San Jose State is, one of the best schools in the G5? Obviously not. Do I think that means that San Jose State is even in the upper tier of schools in the G5? Maybe not. I mean, I think they certainly could be. But for how they're talked about, for the area they're in, for the size of the school, are they underrated? And I think there's a pretty compelling case that they are. And just because you're the most underrated G5 in college football doesn't mean that you're one of the best. It just means people sleep on you a lot. And hey, for good reason with San Jose State. There's a lot of evidence that San Jose State has been a really underperforming school for a long time. But I find a lot of the things that they're doing presently to be very indicative of future success and real investment into specifically the football program. So they were one of the schools that joined the Mountain West in the WAC in 2013. Obviously, they had Coach Brent Brennan, who is currently the soon-to-be fired head coach at the University of Arizona. They did win a Mountain West championship in 2020, so they are, I guess, the lone remaining school ever since the Mountain West began conference championship games to have won a Mountain West championship that remains in the Mountain West. Their athletic department budget is very small. They have to stretch it pretty thin here. I mean, it's way below. It's below Utah State. It's below New Mexico. It's below Reno. It's way below, UNLV. It's below Boise. I mean, it's very low. However, they have shown an increased amount of investment, going up by a percentage each year over the last 3 or 4 years. Specifically with their football program, they still do not invest hardly anything into basketball, and they as we will talk about in a very short period of time here, their basketball situation is really rough. They're in a very good market. Again, like I said, San Jose is a good place to be. Great weather, big metro area. Now, obviously, they're fifth fiddle, sixth fiddle in their metro. They're definitely behind. At least in sports, they're behind Cal and Stanford, obviously, uh, which are schools in Northern California. But their attendance. We'll get into all that. They do benefit though. I don't think it's a bad thing that they're in a large metro market, even though they don't take full advantage of that, and even though they don't have great fan engagement or facilities. The fact that they're in a good market is still an asset for them. They're in one of the better media markets in the country, and it's easy to get to. Travel is simple there. They have a ton of different sports. I mean, they play a lot of different types of sports. But ever since they joined the Mountain West, they have really struggled, until recently. I mean, they've been a lot better of a program as of late. Um, let's talk about their facilities. Their football stadium is very interesting. It used to be bigger. It used to kind of have like a horseshoe shape. Um, and they recently made it smaller. They did renovations. They basically bulldozed one corner of it, one half of it, I guess, one sideline, I should say. And they had a new press box. They added premium seating. They added an East Side building. They upgraded some training facilities for their football program. And genuinely, like, they weren't filling that bigger stadium anyway. And so, it was old, and they said, hey, let's just tear part of it down and let's turn that into a nice area. There's grass over there. I've seen some people dog on San Jose State for doing this, and apparently they do have plans, to rebuild that section of the stadium and at some point in the near future. But for now, they wanted to make quality of life upgrades for the stadium. It's not a great stadium. It's got I don't think their press situation, I don't think their premium seating situation, their box situation is great. It's serviceable. That's being kind of generous. It is in a nice part of the world, and the weather is beautiful there. And they don't get a ton of attendance anyway, and so I don't think that's taking their stadium down to 21,000 really is hurting them at all. And if they could get 20,000 people, 18 to 20,000 people there per game, I think there probably would be an appetite to expand their stadium back to what it used to be, with better amenities, but that just wasn't in the budget, and they did the best they could with what they had. I always, when I see their stadium, I think it's like CFU Stadium, CEFCU Stadium. They have improved their locker rooms and training facilities as of late. I'd say that their football stadium, while there certainly are things to quibble at, is passable. Their basketball arena, on the other hand, is bad. I really, it's a great place to watch a volleyball game. But it is very small, 5,000 seats. It is in the same complex as their athletic offices. It's the Providence Center. It's a miserable place to play basketball. Nobody, I mean, their attendance for men's basketball, I mean, their attendance for football isn't great either, but their attendance for men's basketball is pretty terrible. And playing in that arena always throws opponents off, in the Mountain West, because it's just small and empty. It's not even that big of an arena. And even in the season where a couple of years ago, when Tim Miles had them at 20 wins or 19 wins or 20 wins, they really weren't filling it up very much. It would take years of sustained investment, and the football program at San Jose State, obviously they don't have the level of investment that some other schools in the G5 do, but the football program is the program that's getting the money. It's not the basketball program. And Tim Miles, who was the head coach at San Jose State, really is doing about as good of a job as you could hope for with a school that just doesn't seem to care about basketball. So, basketball wise, I give them, facility wise, I give them an F minus. Obviously, like, football is what really matters. Maybe not an F minus, maybe a D minus. And football wise, it's not great, but I don't hate the look of it. I mean, like, I know we like to clown on it. I know we like to clown on CEFCU Stadium, but I don't hate the way it looks. I think it looks kind of nice. And I think that if they won, they'd get a little bit more investment into that stadium. And the seats that they got rid of, they didn't really need. And I don't hate it. I think their football stadium is a bit overhated. But basketball, feel free to dump as much on their basketball place as you can because it deserves it. Attendance wise, they get between 15 and 17,000 games, 15 to 17,000 um, people per game. So their football attendance, I mean, it's not good by any means. Only better than Utah State, at least in 2024, New Mexico, Hawaii. Their basketball, I don't even know what their announced attendance is. I don't know how many people ever pay to go to San Jose basketball games. Obviously, their athletic revenue, it's they try and keep a balanced budget. It's around 38 to 40 million dollars. They do have a more limited donor base, but it is going up as of late, and certainly their funding and their revenue generation is getting better. I think that this school, thought of athletics as an afterthought for a long time. And a lot of athletics still are kind of afterthoughts, but they are certainly investing in football to a level and raising a lot more money in football. They won the 2020 Mountain West Championship. They beat Boise State in that 2020 season. Other seasons have been a bit inconsistent, but they lost Brent Brennan to Arizona. And part of the reason why I think that they're underrated is because, after they lost Brett Brennan, they went out and hired Ken Neomatalo. I don't know how to say it. Ken Neomatalo or something. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't think of how to say his name. Ken Neomatalolo. He is previously the head coach at Navy. And he's a great record. He's got a great reputation. And I think that going from Brent Brennan to Ken, has Coach Ken, has really shown that San Jose State football they're taking it seriously and they want to be good. And this season they're projected to be one of the best teams in the Mountain West. And certainly going forward for the future of the Mountain West Conference, San Jose State needs to be one of the good ones. They need to be good. They need to keep Coach Ken. And they got a guy in Coach Ken that I don't see. I think he was at Navy for a long time. I think he was kind of forced out at the end. They just kind of wanted to change up. But he's a guy that I could see sticking around for the next 8-9 years as their head coach. And so, I think that their football program is really showing promise. As for their football stadium, you can kind of see, people will put up the pictures of how San Jose State's football arena is now without showing how it used to be. It was not good. It's not like they got rid of this extra section back here, this extra section on the other side of the field, and it was a beautiful, all they had to do was, it needed money. It was easily the worst side. It was not the press box side. They weren't filling it, and they made a calculated decision. But again, I talked about this earlier, their complicated relationship with Northern California and fans. I think there's room to build, it can only go up. And again, if they're taking football seriously, I have seen an increased amount of fan interaction with San Jose State people. And if you're good and you're good for a few 4 or 5 years, there's something to build on there. And I think their football program has shown that promise and can do that and can actually build up a level of fan support. So from 2009 to 2012, they had a pretty good season in 2012, right before they transitioned to the Mountain West. Once they got to the Mountain West, though, a lot of bad seasons under Ron Carriger. And then early on in Brent Brennan's time at San Jose State, they struggled. Again, in 2020, they finished off with a number 24 national ranking, won the Mountain West Championship. Nick Starkel led a really fun offense. Post 2020, it's been a little inconsistent, although Coach Brennan did have another season. I believe that was the 2023 season when they beat UNLV, when UNLV went to the Mountain West, hosted the Mountain West Championship game. And they were a really good team that year. You can make a pretty good argument that they would have put up a much better fight against Boise State than UNLV did in that 2023 season. And then last year, 2024, they were 7-6, and Coach Ken showed a lot of promise in his first season. And I trust him as a football coach. He's not perfect, but I think he's going to keep that football program bowl eligible most years, 7-8 wins, with maybe a ability to get to 9 or 10 wins if they have a great season. And so, it's gotten better. I think it's, I get that we like to crap on San Jose State and people do, but they've really shown some improvement here and shown investment into football. And I think that's worth highlighting. Let's talk about Coach Ken. He was hired in 2023. He had been at Navy for 15 seasons, with a 109-83 record. He won a bunch of Commander-in-Chief trophies. He's a guy that's very disciplined. In fact, I really like him because I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm Mormon. And he's also a member of the church, and he did a lot of really cool stuff with the church back in 2015 or 16, and just seems like a good man, and not just a good man, but a very good football coach. At Navy, he was a triple option guy, like the service academies are. But at San Jose State, he showed a level of flexibility. He came in and adapted a scheme adequate to Mountain West competition and the available talent that he had, and I think he did a pretty good job. And I guess, like I said here at the bottom, I'm extremely biased about him because I just love and respect him as an individual and look up to him a lot. I think he's a good man. And I think that it's not just that he's a good man. He's not just a nice story. He's also a serious football coach. And again, like I said before, I think he could stick around at San Jose for quite a period of time. Let's talk about their 2025 season. So San Jose State, they're going to open the season versus Central Michigan. I think they're going to win that. They're going to go collect a check against Texas and get absolutely destroyed, but I'm sure that they will happily take that money that they will get for playing in Austin. So they'll be 1-1. I think they will beat Idaho. They'll be 2-1. I think they will beat Stanford. Stanford just recently lost to Hawaii. That Stanford game could be a little tricky. It's kind of they're not that far from each other, and maybe you could see a little bit more competition out of Stanford, but I like San Jose State's chances against Stanford. I think they'll beat New Mexico. That would put them at 4-1 at that point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. 4-1. The game at Wyoming, I mean, these two games, Wyoming and Utah State, I think San Jose is going to lose one of them. I don't think they're going to be as good on the road as maybe they could be. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would have them at 5-2 at this point in the season. I'll have them losing either to Wyoming or at Utah State. Then I think that they will beat Hawaii. That would put them at 6-2. I think they will lose to Air Force. I think Air Force is going to be pretty good this season. So I think that'll put that 6-3. They'll be bowl eligible at least. At Reno, I think they will again lose one of these two games, Reno or San Diego State. I guess I'm not going to pick which one, but that would put them at 4 losses. And I have them going 8-4. I think they're going to beat Fresno State at the end of the season. I think 8-4 is a pretty good season. It's the exact record that I have UNLV doing in 2025, with a similar type of schedule, to be honest with you. Although San Jose State does not play either UNLV or Boise State this season. And they also avoid, playing at Air Force. I mean, their toughest road game is probably, their toughest, they don't really have a tough road game. They get Fresno State at home. They do play at Utah State. Bronco could definitely cause some problems. It's never fun to travel to Laramie, as everybody knows. At Reno, I guess, but San Diego State, I don't think very much of them this season. So, there's a very good possibility that San Jose State could go 9-3 with 2 conference losses. And that would put them in contention for the Mountain West Championship game. It would probably not be hosting the Mountain West Championship game. And, there's a chance that they could go perfect in the Mountain West. And, there's a chance. Again, I think 8-4, they lost a lot from their offense last season. And I don't think their quarterback is that great coming into this year. I think 8-4 would be a very respectable season. Nothing to hang your head on, even despite the easy schedule. So what's my conclusion? I guess I started out this, and you heard me say a lot of very mixed things about this college, about their position in their market, about their facilities, about their lack of fan support. And you may think, why are you calling them the most underrated G5 in the country? And hey, fair enough. Ultimately, I think the investment in football, I think they're showing that they know what butters their bread, what butters the bread of all of college sports, and that's college football. And I thought Brent Brennan was a very good coach when he was at San Jose State. Maybe not so much at Arizona, but I think he's a very good coach there. And then with when you make two good football hires in a row, your program becomes a serious program to me. If you can make 2 good hires in a row. It's one thing to get a flash in the pan coach who comes there and then you replace him with somebody that sucks. It's another thing to have a good coach and then replace him with another good coach. And I think that shows that you are a serious football program. And I think they are serious. And when they win, they haven't done a ton of winning, and it sucks that their best season ever was a season where they couldn't have fans in the game at the stadium at all, so the fans couldn't enjoy that experience as much. But ultimately, I like them. Like I just like them. I think they're good. Are they the most underrated G5 in the country? I mean, it depends on what you mean by underrated. It depends on how you rate other schools. I think they're one of the more underrated G5s in the country simply because I believe in their football program. I think it's a good football program, and that matters more than anything else. How good is your football program is the most important the most important question that we ask in terms of conference realignment. And I think their football program is pretty good. And I think it's going to continue to be pretty good. And so, yeah, they're one of the more, maybe not the most, depending on your criteria, but one of the more underrated schools in all of conference realignment, at least on the G5 level. And you know, when it comes to the split between the Mountain West and the Pac-12, if Pac-12 schools were citing San Jose State, and I get it, their basketball program is not a fun place to play. If you were citing San Jose State as one of the schools that you wanted to leave behind, I think that's short-sighted. And I think that San Jose State's proving that they're good. I mean, they believe in football, and that's important to me, and that should be important to you too. So guys, let me know your thoughts about them. I want to know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment. Shoot me an email if you have something you disagree with. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And till we talk next time, next week on the Conference Realignment Series, and this weekend should be a lot of fun. Week 1. Everybody, let's run.